those topics because they kind of morph together. I'm going to take one. Coach Steph is going to take one, and then we're going to combine one together. And obviously, we're all going to interject on them. So the first topic was how to, like, for people that are new to the gym, new to strength training, and then people who have like a bigger weight loss journey to undergo, how to go about that. So that's some really good questions. And I do feel like that area or that grouping of people is sometimes you guys kind of think you're alone a lot. And you're actually not. The over 30-pound weight loss group is probably the majority of the clients here. They're just not as vocal sometimes because they don't have the confidence, because they don't have the experience. So the group chat may be a little overwhelming and you might think you're alone, but it's just because my gals that have been here for a couple of months or that are a little bit further along are more vocal. There are plenty of women and some of my men that are in the same boat as you. Again, they're just sometimes a little shyer, so you don't see it as much. But I think the more I share pictures of the wins and stuff of the people in your shoes, you'll start to understand you're not alone. And it's also funny because sometimes you guys think, I bet you guys all have like guesses of what the numbers look like, right? You're like, oh, this is 631,499 again. Oh, I bet they're like 5'10", 120 pounds, like a six pack,
Yep.
right? And then like I'll show like a transformation picture and you'll be like, no fucking way. Like, oh, all right, we're like kind of on the same page. So don't like think that just because someone is like super vocal and gives ideas that they're like, walking Barbie either, right? We're all in this. We've all been there, right? I don't know if all of you have been here since I shared my transformation when I was like 21, but we've all been there. Okay, so some things that I like to tell people who have a bigger weight loss journey is you have to start somewhere. So the fact that you're even here is massive, right? And you can't, by being here, you're not going to go backwards. That is for damn sure, right? You are not going to get worse. You are not going to put yourself in a deeper hole. It just won't happen. Even if the scale does go up a little bit, I promise you, your overall health is getting better. Joanna was a perfect example today, right? Like she thought she was going backwards. She didn't think she was doing well. She finally took her pictures and she texted me. She almost had a heart attack, right? Like she's making more mindful decisions. She's working out. She's drinking water. The scale was not moving for 3 weeks. It even went up a pound. She took pictures and whoa, right? So even if you take pictures and they're not dramatically different, you have to think about all the habits you are changing, right? Like you're consciously drinking more water. You are consciously taking more steps. You're looking at what you're eating. Those are big wins that we don't give ourselves enough credit for because they're not pretty. Okay. But they're very, very important. Another thing is we have to be patient, right? And we all kind of went off a little bit right on the Weight Watchers part pairing with Ozempic thing because it gives that limelight to a quick fix. And just like you didn't go to bed on a Friday night and wake up 40 pounds heavier on Saturday morning, you're not going to go to bed on a Friday night and wake up 40 pounds lighter on a Saturday morning, right? It's going to take time, just like the weight did. So if this was like a 2-year weight gain for you, guess what? In reality, it might be a 2-year weight loss for you. But I know that might be scary to hear. But that means it stays off. That means you don't have to sign up some other, coach or some other Octavia in another year because you did the hard work. Another thing, right, is it's going to be hard. Unfortunately, if you like when I put on my weight, right, and I was on the border of 200, I had some shitty habits, but I liked them. I liked fast food. It was delicious. It was convenient. I liked going out and drinking. I liked having time that I didn't have to dedicate to the gym really, right? That was some like, obviously I dealt with not playing sports anymore and I was like, this is freedom. This is amazing. I created bad habits. I was staying up to God knows what hour of the night watching TV, not worrying about when I was getting up. Water, I have no idea if I was drinking it or not. I guess there's water in beer, right? I don't know. But
After a beer is.
exactly. A vodka water. Yeah. So the ice cubes melt, right? So there you created bad habits, right? And we can't deny that. We can't look at ourselves in the mirror and say like, how did this happen? I was counting my protein and exercising. This makes no sense, right? I know we want to believe that, but we had shitty habits, and that's we have to own up to that. But now we have to undo those. And undoing habits is not easy. Okay? You have to make the habit unenjoyable. And I'm such a big fan of the book Atomic Habits. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later when me and Steph go over our rituals and our daily thing. But that book is unbelievable. And I've always never loved goal setting, right? I've always been like, kind of like, why do I have to write my goals down? Because, and the author in this book makes a great point. You could have a goal, but if you don't have the pathway and the methods in place to get you there, that goal is a dream, right? So I'm very more focused on the pathways that we're creating to get to that goal. And that's why those little habits are so important, right? The drinking the water, the, getting your steps in, one workout a week to start, trying to create the mindset that the scale might not always go down. It's not always going to go down, because if the scale went down every single day for a year, you disappear, right? And that we don't want that either. Like, you literally disappear. Okay. So it's going to be hard. You're going to have to cut out things that you like, and it's going to suck, and you're going to get upset, and you're not going to see the change as fast as you probably want to, but quitting does nothing for you. Quitting sends you backwards. Showing up every day, embracing it, reaching out to the community, getting support, that'll save you from those moments that you want to quit. But honest to honest, it's gonna be hard, right? But we talked about this other day. You have to pick your hard. It's just as hard to be fit as it is to be, not fit and overweight. It just might be a little bit tastier, but I still think we have some good meals. Um, Another thing is, right, unless you are a client that was eating like 4,000 calories a day, and I don't honestly think there's any of that here. You gained your weight from under eating and then overeating, under eating and then overeating, right? That's the cycle usually. There's very little people that can constantly eat 4,000 calories a day, right? That's very hard to do. They're on that 600-pound life show. They're not here. How people gain weight, but the majority of people, right, is they undereat most days and then they overeat other days. And that's how your body starts to hold on fat. So the main focus for me and Coach Steph and a lot of macro coaches we have to heal you internally first. We can't see you and say, okay, perfect. Susie, you're eating 1,200 calories a day starting now. Susie might have been eating 1,200 calories a day 5 days out of the week, but then eating 6,000 the other days. Her metabolism is screwed up. If we don't figure that out first, that diet of 1,200 calories a day is going to show Susie no results, okay? Because her body's kind of used to that. And then Susie's going to get mad and she's going to quit, right? So we have to focus internal first. We have to get that metabolism regulated again. We have to get your body fueling and going and growing muscle before we can cut. Another reason why we have to focus on the internal is because we want you to grow muscle. Muscle burns more calories during the day. Muscle means there's not as much body fat. Muscle helps your heart. Muscle helps your bones. We can't really grow muscle in a diet. Okay. People think they can, right? Sometimes people will like go to Orange Theory for a couple of weeks and they'll think they got muscle from it, right? Oh, I went to Orange Theory. Look at these arms I got. No, they just lost some body fat from all the cardio and they saw the muscle they already had. Okay. You can't gain muscle while you're in a negative caloric deficit. Okay. It can't happen. So in order for us to regulate the metabolism and get the muscle on your body that you need just to live and to walk up and down and to, if you fall down, to get up, right? That's a concern for people. We have to give your body enough calories. So that's why another reason why we don't hit you straight with a diet. We have to build some muscle underneath first. And again, I'm going to bring up Joanna again, the fact that she clearly built muscle, right? That's why the scale went up a little bit. She lost some inches, but she built some muscle. So I want to focus on muscle building and metabolism regulation before we jump into that cut, because once you hit that cut, muscle growing is paused, right? When you're in a cut, you're not growing muscle. You're maintaining, But that 8 RPE that I show you, where your face is like, you know, you can't really have that anymore because your energy's lower. Okay. And you can still try very hard, but you're not going to be able to lift the same exact weight if you are 700 calories in a deficit, right? It's just not going to happen. And that's okay. But that's why I want to focus on muscle and metabolism growth to start. And then we can get into a diet. Another thing, I kind of talked about this a little bit before, right? Is a lot of this is going to be behavior changes. None of you are going to be macro geniuses in a week or in 2 weeks. It's not easy. It's math, it's playing, it's frustrating. I mean, there's rarely a day that I don't even think I've ever hit triple zeros on my macros, right? It's hard. I'm at a point where I don't necessarily need to. And none of you are either. Do not get like so worked up with being perfect on these numbers. You know, you have a range, 10 grams, 10 grams, give or take. I know that spreadsheet is amazing. Is okay, right? It's about consistency. It's not about being perfect every single day, but we have to bring that consistency. You have to be consistent in order to see change. It's inevitable, right? Like, and consistency, think about it on like a school scale. If you hit your macros 4 days out of 7, that sounds good. Now, if I can do my math, 4 divided by 7, that's a 57% on a test, right? That sucks, right? You hit your macros 6 out of 7 days. That's still an 86%. Not bad, but right, when you think about it that way, you're like, oh no, like I did good for 4 days and then the weekend I kind of go off. It's going to make a big difference. So we definitely want to be consistent, and patience is just so important. And again, it's not all about nutrition. It's behavioral changes. When you are tired, is the first thing you look for the fridge. When you are bored, is the first thing you look for the fridge. When you know, the sun goes down and your kids go to bed, does your brain start going like dessert, right? And I get it. But we have to try and like stack, and I'm going to talk about this again later, stack some habits to deter us. And again, I've told this to a couple of people, you have to get the things out of your house that trigger that. And I know it's hard, but like I can't have bagels. And like people like, you don't have any willpower. Fuck that. Like, yeah, you're right. Like willpower's hard. Okay. I have a little bit, but I don't have a lot of it. And because I know I don't, I'm not going to be around it. I'm not going to create an environment where I'm testing my willpower every 30 seconds. That's no way to live. Right. And plus then you negative self-talk the second you give into that. Right. If I had bagels and pizza and candy all around my house and I was like, don't do it, you're weak, don't, like, what? That's awful. So I don't have them, right? Because I know if I had a bag of bagels on my counter, I would be too deep probably each day they were there, right? And I would be mad at myself and that, so they're not there. I try and put barriers in place, right? Like if I really want a bagel, I'm gonna have to put my shoes on, get my keys, get in my car, drive up the road, get a bagel. I don't have time for that, right? So I don't get a bagel. So those are just some things. With gym stuff, start small. All right. I heard this great suggestion once on a podcast about if you're nervous to go to a gym, right? And everyone is at first, go and just walk on the treadmill and get the lay of the land, right? Stare at people, study people, see what they do. Like there's plenty of times, I mean, Steph can even attest to this. Me and her still get fucking confused with machines. Like,
I was just gonna say, like the gym that we go to over the summer, they just added like all these new machines, and I literally was standing on one the other day, and I'm like, "What is this thing?" And I'm like, "What is this like?" Because you could do remember the one that had like, you could literally do everything,
do
like
every
shoulder
arm
press,
movement
bicep curls,
somehow.
push downs, and we were like trying to figure out how to like how does this work?
Right. So spend some time on the treadmill. Take a 20-minute walk and just watch. Maybe the next day, take a 20-minute walk, try one machine. Take a 20-minute walk, try 2 machines. But if that's where you are and you really do want to get into a gym, let us know that, and we can help you with like we don't have to send you a 4-day gym plan right away, right? I can onboard you slowly into a gym. Another thing that I'll probably always do is recommend you touch dumbbells first.
Frozen, or is it just me?
Oh, it might be.
He's frozen.
Yes.
Oh no. Can you hear me or no?
Let me see.
It's not ghetto Wi-Fi.
We lost.
Oh, there she.
Am I back?
Are you there?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Wow, what I just said was amazing too. And you're never gonna hear it. Just kidding.
I
Um,
feel like too, when of the people that work at the gym, like you could like I've gone up to them before and been like, hey, can you just show me like how to do this, or like can you just show me, or like if they have their client with them, I'll just go stand over there and I'm like, you know what are they going to tell me that work here? What are they going to say? Like, go away, you're not supposed to be over here. I just kind of go over there and I'm like, what machine is this and how do you use it? And oh, okay, like because they're there to help, and nobody really like everybody at the gym, like if you've been to a gym, like when I look at people, like it's like what bad thing can you say about someone that's trying to better themselves? Like
right.
I feel like there's more negative connotation towards people that do things where you're like smoking cigarettes or like eating unhealthy or doing like I feel like when you go to the gym, what could you possibly have to say about, I always see the kids come in, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad, I hope my kids go to the gym when they're in their teens and like that's what they're doing when they're younger. Like I just feel like if you're talking negatively about someone at the gym, then you probably don't belong there.
Right. And like I wrote that down in my notes that like I know people at the gym sometimes look really bitchy and don't look nice. I'm probably one of the like I don't have like a smiley face on, but like everyone I've come in contact with, and this shocks me, is like so kind. I had a girl today tell me that my RDLs looked really good yesterday. And I was like, that was like, you didn't have to like do that. That was so sweet. Like people are usually pretty nice. And also you have to remember that people are into themselves. They're also nervous. No matter how shredded and strong people are, they're just as insecure. Like there's been plenty of times where, I thought I was killing it, outfit looking good, lifting strong. I whack my head on a Smith machine bar. Not one person fucking saw me, right? So clearly I wasn't hot, like multiple times hit my head places. The leg extension machine collapses on me. No one's running to save me because everyone's looking at themselves, right? So by starting small, by getting the lay of the land, by just touching dumbbells. I'm never going to put a barbell on your back the first day you go to a gym. I'm never going to be like, lay under the leg extension machine and, put 4 plates on. Like we're going to start small with dumbbells. You can go in the corner if you want. But I also think the gym culture is kind of changing. Like Jen, when I first started talking with Jen, she was always like, I don't really want to go to the guy part of the gym. And I was like, what the fuck is the guy part of the gym? So, like where the free weights are. And I think that's changing, right? Like there's a ton of girls in there now, and I think like the guys even give you credit. Like one time I picked up a 70-pound dumbbell. I was gonna do legs with it, but he was like, this dude was like, why did you just pick that up? Like, what are you about to do with that? And I was like, bench. He was like, what? And I was like, no, I'm just kidding, I'm squatting. Like I'm not benching it. But I do feel like some of the dudes are like very like supportive. I like see all these stupid reels about like how they're pissed that girls are doing arm day now because girls are getting nicer arms than guys. um
There's also like QR codes on machines now. Like I've used it before. I've scanned the machine and it shows you like a video on how like it works and how you're supposed to do it. And I think it's really helpful. That's what I teach like in my classes in phys ed and health too, because some of the kids like want to go to the gym and they're so nervous. And I'm like, well, you guys all have your cell phones all the time. Just scan the QR codes. They literally bring you to a video of how to use the machine.
Yeah. And again, like I will drop down and show you, like you guys have seen, like people, I think I did this for Mindy. She needed help. She was not sure how to do a push-up. I got down on my classroom floor, videotaped it quick. Like I'll always help you with form, but that's why I need to see it too, right? Because we have to help you that way. But taking steps slowly, nutrition wise and gym wise. We are in no race here. I know everyone wants to be fitter quicker, and that's good. That means you have desire to change. Don't get me wrong. But this is no sprint. Unfortunately, sometimes sprints, people get out of breath real fast and they stop. Right. So we're slow and steady here. We're jog for 5, walk for 2, jog for 5, walk to 2. But all right, Steph, you want to take over the second one?
Yeah, so this is the one we were talking about, like unexpected meal changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So CJ would always yell at me because I'm
I don't yell.
I def she still does, she still yells at me, but I meal prep, but I'm very like I I like to have different variety of foods. So I would always tell her, I'm like, I can meal prep Monday through Thursday, and then like I need, or like Monday through Wednesday, and then Friday, Thursday, Friday, I need to like be able to do the best I can to like find something like that fits my macros, but also like a change. Like I need a change because I get sick of things very easily. So I feel like if like my husband and I, or we go out to dinner, or if something happens, like I always look at the menu first. Like number one is like I'll always look at the menu ahead of time. So if I know like, okay, if we're gonna go out, or if I plan dinner, but tonight we're like, we're not feeling that, we're gonna go out, look at the menu ahead of time and try to pick a meal based on your macros. Like you could really pick something, that you could pick a healthy option. You don't have to get something on the menu that's like the most ridiculous, like high calorie, low macro. Like there's so many options that you could put together. And there's been so many times where I've gone out and have asked the waiter, like, can you please just cook it in like the spray, use avocado oil sprayer instead of like dousing it in a ton of oil, because it's really hard to track, right? So using spray, like looking at the menu and picking it based like the best option that you can, and like try to order something that's maybe trackable, right? Like if you're going out to dinner, um like trying to keep it as simple as possible, but obviously not, depriving yourself, but maybe get the sauce on the side, or maybe like ask for something like to be cooked a certain way, so you're not like really trying to guess and it's in something that you don't really know how to like log. So I feel like even with like salads or sauces or dressings or things like that, like I know it sounds funny, but to like have it on the side instead of them dumping it in, at least you can kind of gauge how much you're using, and then you can log it that way, right? And like estimating like the portion size, like looking at, after a while, when I feel like you meal prep, I feel like you can kind of take a good look at something and be like, okay, that's about this many ounces, or maybe that's like half a cup, or maybe just estimating to the best of your ability. And
We
like
only wanna do
um
that when we go out.
yeah, when
Only
we go
gonna
out,
do
that's
that
what
when you
I'm
go
saying.
out. Okay.
Yeah, when you're home, I mean, if you're traveling, I feel like it's one thing if you're
Yeah.
traveling and you want to bring your food scale and do something like that. But if it's unexpected one night and you're going to dinner, you're not going to bring a food scale and sit there and measure things at the table, you know? So that's what I mean by like estimating like portion sizes at that point. Um, but obviously when you're home meal prepping, not doing that. But and like also like in my fitness pal, you could Google, I mean, you could like search a lot of things and something similar might come up. And maybe you could just use something like for Chipotle, for example. I was actually just helping somebody with that the other day. Just like putting in individually what you got and making it like the bowl, like for what you just made. So it's like taking different things and estimating what was in there and adding it in. But just trying to pick stuff that's like trackable and keeping it simple, but also something that is something you would eat. You obviously want to like live your life and not sit at the table and be miserable, but making it easier on yourself. That way it's less stressful, because then you'll sit there and you'll be stressed the whole time. So
Another thing I like to do, right, I'm not sure, like, whoever asked this question, right, if it's like on weekends you find this happening or all the time because plans are changing. But I know like Friday through Sunday when plans are up in the air, right? You never really know. Um, save your calories, right? Save it for nighttime. I like big dinners anyway, so I always leave like 1,000 calories for like my dinner and dessert. But again, I have a lot higher calorie intake than a lot of you. But I know that I like bigger dinners. So I save a lot of calories. On the weekends, I know that I don't cook. So it's either going to be just leftovers or I'm going to do something. So I try again and save a lot to play around with. And I know I tell you guys to be on your macros, but for most of you, if you're consistent the whole week, you can be under, if you like if you're under on a Friday because you saved 1,200 calories and then only had an 800-calorie dinner, that's all right. But when you think that the day could go awry or that, you might be running around crazy, if you're going to be going out to eat, save some. If you also think, well, I have 80,000 places to bring my kids today, the only meal I know I can have is breakfast, make that breakfast huge. Okay. And then you can, protein snack the rest of the day. But if you know that one meal you're gonna be able to have at least at some point, make that meal big. But this is again why planning ahead, even your social calendar is so big. Like when I do the grocery list on Thursday, I look at my week, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, on Wednesday I have a doctor's appointment. So I'm only going to have like 40 minutes to prep dinner. I'm going to have this recipe. Like I look at my social calendar with those. I don't just pull recipes out of thin air with those weeks. I see the meals that are quickest, the meals that, I don't have as much time, and I try and make it the easiest for me so I don't collapse and then go out to eat. Right? If I schedule a 3-hour pot roast on a day that I have plans, that pot roast is not probably going to happen, and I'm going to go to Chipotle instead, which is not the worst thing, but that was poor planning on my part, right? I keep the meal short and sweet on the days I know I have things. I also try, on the Fridays, I make them super simple just in case they don't happen, and I don't throw out a ton of groceries, right? I don't have a 12 ingredient dinner on Friday because sometimes Friday dinners are out, and that would get me sad to throw out all those expensive groceries, right? So there's a lot of things I try and think about on the Thursday before the week comes up.
Yeah, and I also feel like when you go out to like I said before, there's good choices you can make. I feel like everybody wants to go out, like when they go out and order, like if you're stopping at, just say, like Chick-fil-A, because that's like what all the kids are obsessed with. You're stopping at Chick-fil-A, right? There's like grilled chicken nuggets, there's grilled chicken like sandwiches, there's, you know, that probably have like 30 to 40 grams of protein or something. But it's like when you start ordering all the extra sides and all the stuff that you you might not need, that adds all that extra, like, that's going to make the scale go up because of the sodium or the extra things that you'll wake up the next morning feeling, because but you don't need all that. Like I feel like if you get a grilled chicken sandwich and it might fit your macros, there might be like 30 to 35 grams of carbs and like, I mean, protein and a decent amount of carbs and some fat. While if you order something else with like a large fry, and like even think about drink wise, when you go out, empty calories are like drinking a soda or like, iced tea or even diet coke, like those things, like have a water with lemon, have a seltzer, maybe there's other options. Those would be like, I feel like empty calories that aren't even worth it because there's no nutrition in them, and it's just adding the extra bloat and the extra sugar that you don't need.
And like, don't get the case of the fuck it's either, right? Like, let's say plans do go out the window and you find yourself in the Chick-fil-A line. Don't be like, fuck it, I'm at Chick-fil-A, my plan's ruined. This is never gonna lose weight. Let's get 7 sandwiches, right? Like, don't be that dramatic. Yeah, you ended up at the pizza place because shit didn't go right. Bring a whole pie. Screw it. My week is over, right? No. Like, there's some options that you can take, right? You're like telling yourself it's okay to go rogue because a little plan went astray, right? Like, you could find something at every single place that is not the worst option, right? But sometimes we're like, you know what? I planned this whole week out. Ugh, the world's against me. 74 pieces of pepperoni pizza, please, right? Like, no, we
Yeah.
can get a salad with your kid's leftover bite of his pizza. So you get the feel, right? So sometimes like the self-sabotage talks a little bit. There is
It's
there's an Instagram that I have to find that is unbelievable. It's like it's a side Instagram of like a main account, and they do every single fast food place under the sun with like the best options in the macros. I forget what it was called. If any of you guys know, let me know. But I'll find it and I'll send it to you guys.
that's like what CJ was saying before. It's just like if you have one flat tire, you're not gonna like get out of the car and pop all your other tires and be like, well, fuck it, I had one flat tire. Let's just
Splashing
mess
all
the rest of
three.
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, you enjoy your life. It's not the end of the world, but there's just better options. And just make sure, like, sometimes the salad at certain places isn't the best option. So that's why looking at the menu ahead of time is the best way to get a gauge of like what they have and what you could get. And like you might even be able to get like grilled chicken without a bun if you're low, if you too high on carbs, and some veggies on the side. Like there's always a better option.
Also, like, feel free to send us those. Like, send me the menu if you know you're going out on a Friday. I can help you. Um,
Hmm.
like that's why we're here. We talk all the time. So use us, right? So let us know. And the group can help too. Send the group the menu. Um, but yeah, those are those. All right. So the last part was like how to live like a balanced lifestyle and some of the habits that me and Steph have. Um, I'll let her kind of do, she wrote down some awesome stuff for the balance, but like some habits that I have, and again, I'm very, I'm probably like type A to a fault in a sense. Like I love lists, I love planning, like I like that stuff, but I think it's because I just grown up that way, and it just makes life, it makes life easier. Like people are always like, how do you do all that? I'm like, I just put implement habits that kind of keep me structured. So like for example, and this might be, people are like, what, you're weird. I do a thing called habit stacking. And I swear I did this before I read the Atomic Habits book. I pick something out of my day that I know I'm gonna have to do. And then I add a habit that I want to start, right? So let's say I want to start drinking 20 ounces of water every day because I don't. I know I'm going to brush my teeth every day. That's inevitable. So I make a rule in my head. When I brush my teeth, I will then drink 20 ounces of water, and I make it a non-negotiable, right? So I stack it with a thing I know I'm going to do. Um, and then, yeah, the first couple of times you have to remind yourself, but then it becomes a habit stack. It's just the next thing you do right after that thing, you're always going to do. So, for example, for me on Friday, today's Thursday, I did my habit for Friday. I thought it was Friday. It's so depressing. So I'm a day ahead. Look at me. Okay, so usually on Fridays, and I just realized I did this today, so I'm a day ahead. When I go upstairs quick, when I get home to unpack my gym bag, I pick out 5 outfits quick and I lay them out for the next week. Now, my style, not so great, so I don't really have to worry. Sometimes it fucks me because the weather, I don't look at the weather and I'm like, okay, I'm freezing today, or it's raining and I have nice shoes on. Whatever. Those things happen. But I have 5 outfits laid out on the Friday before the week starts. That saves me so much time during the week, right? I'm also very low maintenance in the sense that I like don't really care what I wear. And I mean I try, but I don't put on makeup and stuff like that. But like that saves me so much time. I don't have to think about it. Another one is right on Friday, whenever the first time I like sit on the couch or sit on the car after work, I order my Costco. No matter what. On Friday at some point, I order my Costco for the week. And I always do delivery for Costco, okay, because I just spend a lot less money. But no matter what, it happens on a Friday. On Sunday, every Sunday morning when I get up and make coffee, I make my oats. It almost takes like the same exact time for the time for me to, the coffee to brew and all that, for it to cool down a little bit. Your oats are done in 25 minutes and my oats are done. So sometimes I make my oats by 8 a.m. They're in the fridge. See you later. Right. So as I'm making my coffee and the kids are getting up and they're watching cartoons and stuff, I make my oats and that's it. It happens no matter what. My kids start soccer on Sundays now at 9 a.m. So that might be different. You know what? I'll wake up 10 minutes earlier and make my oats. But so I do get it if you have, like sometimes I'm lucky because my kids are a little bit younger, but habit stacking is really important and it's really helped me. Don't, and also saying, don't say to yourself tonight, like, don't be inspired from this and be like, all right, I'm going to do this, 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 this. Pick one, right? Pick your one habit stacker you want to do. Once that gets into routine, pick another one, right? Don't put 84 habits on your plate for the next day. It's going to be too overwhelming, right? Pick one at a time.
And
I
they
get
have to be like realistic for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they have to be real for you. Like I go to, which sounds miserable, but I usually go to the gym at 5 a.m. because it's literally the only time that I have, like, I actually feel like at peace from 5 to 6 a.m. because nobody's talking to me, nobody calls me, nobody's looking for me. My baby is still sleeping, so I'm not
Which
worried
one, big
about
baby
him.
or little baby?
Both babies still sleeping. Like nobody's trying to talk to me. So I'm like, yeah, when my alarm goes off at 4:45, I'm like, oh my God. But I'm like, you know what? Once I get there, I'm gonna be happy I went. And then I'm happy when I left. I never leave the gym and go, oh, I should have never went this today. Like, but the only reason why it also helps me get up is the night before I bring into the other room my gym clothes, my sneakers, my socks, my sweatshirt, everything I need. My water bottle's already ready to go for the morning. I don't really like ice cold water, so I don't care if it's like room temperature, but everything is ready to go. So I literally roll out of bed, brush my teeth, go to the gym. Because if I don't prepare my stuff the night before, then I'm not getting up. I
Yeah.
already know myself. Like if it's not ready to go, I'm gonna be like, oh, now I gotta get up. My husband's still sleeping. I gotta use my flashlight. I gotta find my sports bra. Where's my underwear? Like I'm looking for all my stuff, and I'm like, forget it. I'm going back to sleep. So I do it that way. I have no excuse. I'm like, everything's already in the living room. I just get up, throw everything on, and go. And sometimes I sleep in my clothes. I just go
I've done that.
because it just makes me go. Like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't do it.
Right. And she knows that, yeah, maybe Steph would have time at 3, maybe she'd had time at 5, but things might also come up. So 5 o'clock is like her safe time. She knows that no one's asking her to come for coffee at 5 a.m. No one is inviting themselves over for dinner at 5 a.m. So sometimes it's a little bit less convenient for you, but you know that nothing's going to impede that, right? Like you don't.
Yeah, and, like, very big, like, if somebody texts me and they're like, "Oh, wanna hang out?" Or I'm like or, like, at the end of a work day, everybody knows you're, like, dead, and I'm like, "Oh, I have to go to the gym," and I'm like, "Oh, I already went to the gym. Okay, I could do something else." Like, I already know I don't have to, like, worry about it, and especially, like, teaching and I was coaching and I was getting home at 5, 6, I don't really wanna go to the gym at 7 o'clock at night, so it was, like, the only time that I knew I would go and I would stick with it and be consistent, and now
And
I
some of you
actually
guys,
really like working out.
yeah, and some of you guys like working out at night, and that's completely fine too, right? Like
Yeah.
that's your safe time, like when it's darker and the day's over and that like brings you like some good vibes. That's awesome too, but you have to find things and times that are less likely to get interrupted. If they're important to you, and again, that's the willpower thing, right? I don't want you to have to use willpower all the time. Like, I have to say no to plans. I have to go to the gym. I have to say no to this. Like, that's not a fun life either. So, try and make an environment that doesn't test your willpower. Make an environment that encourages whatever goals you have. Um, so, like routine and stuff like that, right? I'm just for steps, right? I'm a big make my life inconvenient. I'll go up and down the stairs 20 times for laundry. I take the long way to my classroom. I take the long way to my duty. Like I'm a teacher, right? So if I have to go to bathroom duty, I'll take the long way. I don't really like to sit. The fact that I'm sitting for this is um great, but I like even standing if you're not stepping is better. Be obnoxious. If it's at 9 o'clock at night, start doing laps around the house, but park far away. Set alarms if you need to, right? If this is a new habit for you, set an alarm for every hour on the 20th minute to get up and just do 100 steps, right? I know 10,000 is like the number, but that's also a number that you're going to get to. Don't start yourself at, you were averaging 2, don't expect to get 10. That's setting yourself up for some disappointment. 1 step extra a day is all we want. Cooking, I do all my cooking on Sunday and bring all my meals to work. So I don't use the excuse of, oh, I forgot my lunch today. I'm going out to get pizza. It's in my mini fridge behind my desk. Yes, I have a mini fridge behind my desk.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's what I
crazy.
do. I bring everything and I just load up my refrigerator, and that way, because I'm also a very big, like, if I'm starving and it's not there, like then I'll go crazy. So I just have to have everything in there. My like snacks, my breakfast, my protein, my whatever.
Preparation's huge. And I know we're like beating a dead horse with like meal plan, put it in the day before, but it's true. Like the more you prep, unless you're super good at being on the fly, some people are, like they really are. That's just how they live their life. But especially as you're learning this, the more you can do to prep yourself and the more you can do to like, make it a behavior change is better. And also I was talking to two of my little lovebirds over there. Affirmations, right? Like, believe me, I used to roll my eyes at this stuff. Like, get out of here. Like, but they're like, change the way you say it, right? Like, I'm going to, like, I get to, right? I get to go to the gym every day because there's people that don't. I can't have pizza. Well, what about I'm the kind of person that has grilled chicken instead, right? Not I can have this because you can. No one is smacking on your hand, but you're going to be the person that makes. Oh no, I base most of my meals on protein. Get rid of the can'ts and the don'ts and change it to like well, I'm this kind of person now, right? Like I am the person that parks far away at the supermarket because I care about my health. You know, I am the kind of person that weighs my food because it's teaching me something and I'm learning. Not, I can't believe I have to weigh my food, or ugh, like, yeah, I don't eat pizza anymore. No, I have the
No, it
ability to
makes
eat pizza. I'm choosing not to.
yeah, it really changes your mindset, and the way you talk to yourself is huge. Like even like creating a relationship with food, which everyone some people might not think they have a relationship, but you do, because if you even look at a piece of food and you go, that's bad for me, like that's an like that's a bad food. Like nothing's really bad. Like that's
Right.
just right. That's a relationship you have with food because of like all the media and everything that's like put out there, and now you're thinking all these things, so when you eat something that's bad, then you feel like negative and you talk negative, when in reality it's like just try to think positively, talk those affirmations to yourself, which is, I mean, I always like the spiritual part of health, I always really enjoyed and liked, and a lot of people, like even my husband, he's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, all right, well, I like the spiritual part. I think it's like important for your like mental health. It really is, because your mental health and your gut are related.
Mm-hmm. Big time. Right. And I was an eye roller at affirmations. I'm very much like Steph's husband, which you guys will learn to
Must be Germans.
it's the German in us. So a funny story. Steph was like, "What do you eat for breakfast every day?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I English muffin with peanut butter and my oats." And she's like, "Oh, so you make your English muffin every day?" I go, "No, I make them all on Sunday and I put them in tinfoil." She's like, "All right, I'll try it." I get a text from her on Tuesday. She's like, "You eat fucking hockey pucks. Like, how do you toast your English muffins on a Sunday and eat them the rest of the week?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm a garbage tin, like garbage bag. Like, I just eat it." Like,
I'm
she's
like,
like,
I need a
disgusting.
freshly toast English muffin. I'm like, I could beat the shit out of somebody with this English muffin. I'm like, so like that's not for me. Like I can't meal prep like that. I make my own. Like I do like either like a quinoa bowl or like a some like oatmeal I'll do, but like I cannot do hockey puck hockey puck English muffins. I can't.
Like, I love to eat, but I also like I will eat whatever. Like, stuff will be like 5 days expired, and my husband's like, "Throw it out." I'm like, "Good, I'll eat it." He's like, "You're disgusting." I'm like, "I don't know, like it's fine." Like that's probably why I don't really get sick, because my gut is probably like, seen this before.
I
But
know,
yeah,
it's so
definitely
funny.
like again, have like, and I know it's silly to be like, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what do I like about myself? I know it's hard. And I actually, and I'm guilty of this. I think making fun of yourself is actually funny sometimes. Like, don't I love poking fun at myself, but at the end of the day, like I don't, I mean, I guess I don't like, I've gotten past that point where I believe it. So I don't think your whole, like, you can never make fun of yourself or like never, make poke fun, but all of you are freaking amazing. I talk to people about how awesome this group is all the time. Like, I don't know how I hit the jackpot with like such great people. All of you are unbelievable. And you're all still so, even if you've been with me from the start, you're all still so early in this journey, like so early. I've been doing this for years and years, right? Like, I showed Jamie my picture the other day of when I CrossFitted to now, my body has changed. But that was a 7 year transformation. And it's not even, it's 10 pounds. That's it. Right. So you're so early in this. And I hope that doesn't scare you in the sense of like, I have to do this for 7 years, because it will get easier. And I think you're going to feel more empowered too. Like, all this that you're learning is empowering. Like, oh, like, I know more than Weight Watchers does. Like, what are they doing? Like, it's cool to realize that, like, oh wait, that's been a lie. I know the truth now. Like, spread the knowledge. And I'm obsessed with this stuff. I think it's so awesome and so interesting. I could listen to podcasts on it all day. And I love just knowing that I'm educated, right? And I'm not going to believe these stupid diet narratives. I'm not going to fall for the latest um gimmick, because I know better. And it's a really cool idea and mentality to have, which I think you guys will all dive into if you haven't already. A lot of
But I
you are
think
like, I love learning. I love this stuff. So
you're already ahead of the game, because sometimes I don't realize how much people don't know, uh even before like doing this, like just like teaching health and phys ed and like going through school and learning about this. So, like I feel like you guys are already learning more than you already know more than half the people that you come encounter with. So
yeah.
uh
Yeah, a little bit. Steph, you see what she's doing? Having
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
You wanna go play? Okay, okay.